online there are some quite nice examples of pot matching. You know, Jonas does them, and also what's his name, Boone, Mana Kavit. I don't know, Vicky will have to jump in and help me on the pronunciation of his surname. But he also does these very interesting picture sequences of the process of actually trying to find the right pot for your tree. And you know, I think this is another reason why I have this passion about collecting pots, in that I've got a library of probably 3 times the number of trees that I've got, because then I've got diversity of choice, and I can actually find a pot that really excites me with my tree. I don't have to make do. So, you know, this is an example of Jonas's tree. This is a dwarf wisteria, planted in a bunzan pot. And what he's wanting to do is he's now going to repot it and put it into a different container. And so, you know, what I can do is I can just scroll through and show you the different ways, you know, the different kinds of containers which are, you know, possible. And all of these containers do actually match the tree quite well. The question is, you know, which pot do we end up using for the final display? So I don't know whether there's kind of enough capacity for interaction here. If anybody is able to, you know, whether people want to jump in and say which pots they prefer for this tree. And you can see, you know, different characters of the tree are brought out depending on the character of the pot that's being used. Okay, so I don't know if there's any comments or any thought that anybody wants to.
The red one.
Okay, so Rob's saying the red one. Mm-hmm. The other, so we're on that
one there, the very first one, or that blue one there.
Okay, so we got the very first one. Which blue one? This one?
That one, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Carl, is it the flowers? Is it white flowers or purple flowers of the wisteria?
I would think they're probably purple.
Purple.
Hmm.
Even surfer.
What was that? Okay, what is the chat saying?
Difficult
brown
choice.
Okay, so Vicky likes the brown handmade one. Like the colourful pot. That's Tola liking the colourful. Okay. All right. So I think ultimately this is the pot that was chosen. I think, which I think is one of the less exciting choices. But again, Jonas was wanting it's a secondary tree for the display that he's putting together. So he maybe wanted something a bit understated. But you know, you can see the way in which the tree just looks so different depending on the kind of pot that one is using. And I think, you know, the one reason why this pot might be problematic is that it is just a very powerful pot with that red color, the very dominant feet, and in some ways the femininity of the flowers of the wisteria would be, you know, attention would be drawn away from it in that case. So yeah, so that's an example. And again, you know, I think the important thing to remember is that none of these are actually wrong. It's just how your preference goes and what your intention is with the tree. And you know, again, you know, a slightly bigger pot like this one that was chosen allows the tree to actually develop a little bit more as well. Okay, so this is a little bit easier because it's only on a single slide. Again, this is a Jonas tree, and it's one of the corkbark elms as far as I know. And again, you know, all of these different choices. So okay, so Tola's saying as an accent or secondary, the chosen pot is probably better. Yeah, so that was for the wisteria. And I think that probably was the thinking that went in there. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so what do people like with this set? Again, you know, generally quite subtle differences between the different pots, nothing too bold, but you can just see the difference, with the hard, rectangular walls versus the oval shape, versus the defined feet versus a rim, all of those different characters. Are there any choices on there?
The top right one.
Top right. Okay. Can't remember actually which one. Okay, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Is that the last one, Rob? I assume. Strong tree. Okay, sorry, I'm just losing track here of the.
Yes.
It's okay. So the last one, Rob's point of view. Strong tree. Toller's going for the first one. Vicky saying that the last one makes the tree look and feel massive. Middle left. Okay, so that's the much softer, much gentler pot. The middle pale purple. Okay, number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, I assume. Okay, so I mean, again, you can see middle of the second row. Again, you can see how everybody's different preferences are coming out. I think this tree would work in all of these containers. I can't actually remember which one he ended up planting it in. I mean, for me, I probably would. I actually do quite like this, the white pot, the white oval, white deep oval.
Yeah.
It makes it quite sort of light and dramatic and quite appropriate for a deciduous. Although the depth is such that reduces the visual size of the trunk. As Vicky's saying, with leaves, it would also make quite a bit of a difference. And then I think the yellow pot, middle right-hand side, I think would also work for me. But you can see I'm possibly going through a brighter pot phase at the moment. Okay, and then what we've got is this. It's a one of the not box. Yeah, it's a box. Yes, sorry, a Buxus. And again, so Jonas is trying to find the match for this. So and you can see the different kinds of glazes, the shapes, everything that he's doing here. That's another Bunsan pot. That's an eco pot. What are people's thoughts?
That yellow pot.
The yellow one. Okay. Okay. So Toller's saying the third one. So that's 1, 2, 3. Okay. Hopefully that's you like, Toller. Then somebody's saying the yellow pot, which is that one. Yeah. Dawn likes the third one, which is that one. Again, I think they all, again, they all pots that do work. I think this pot, gives the tree a sense of maturity, a sense of stability. That sort of blackish glazed area at the bottom of the pot really grounds the tree and the pot very, very nicely. I think the yellow at this stage is quite bright. I don't know, it again would work. But to me, I think I do prefer the previous one. First one is too big. Yeah, no, I would agree that that first container is too big. So that's very much a growing and a developing container. Vicky's saying small tree. Yes, it probably is quite a small tree. It's probably about 10 or 15 centimeters tall. Okay, so there seems to be kind of a consensus heading towards this pot or that pot, and I think I'd agree with either of those choices. Again,
Green.
Similarly, none of all of the pots would work, but one of the joys of having multiple pots is that then you have these choices. So really, just in conclusion, then I think it's as our bonsai develops and as we progress with our bonsai, we really need to start looking at aspects of attention to detail and really to enhance them and make them look the very best that they can. And this was Jean-Paul Polman's at the Bonsai Europa in 2016. 2017, and just the quality of this display is really quite astounding. It's a white pot that's got very strong, very deep patina on it. So it's an old white pot. It's matched with a very old, beautifully. It's a really beautifully made stand, and then you've got all of these combinations of shiny and dull and very highly refined, and so I think this is kind of an inspiration that we can draw from. Often the discussion, amongst sort of people that I talk to is the way in which our trees maybe aren't quite as highly refined as the Japanese trees, and so being displayed on a stand like this might be a bit a bit contrasty, a bit sort of jarring, because our trees are still much coarser. They're not as highly refined, and I think that is true, but it certainly should give us pause for thought around how we make use of the ruggedness of our trees and actually create displays that enhance that ruggedness and show off that tree, and actually look at the attention to detail on the display, and don't just kind of stick it into a pot because you've got the pot and it's a brown pot and brown pots work, and then stick it onto the show table and say this is my tree. I think actually some reflection and thought about the process of the potting, the beauty of the pot, the beauty of the stand, the beauty of the display is a very important. Okay, so that's me and my pots and the way in which I just love pots. I love collecting pots. It really is a passion. I don't know, hopefully some of that passion has actually been conveyed. And if there's any questions or anything, I think then we can actually answer them. So yeah, thanks very much, everybody.